When you share your food, you share your heart. So what's on your table this holiday season? Save on your festive feast at Kroger with delicious deals on all the holiday classics. Or wow the crowd with something new, like a quinoa stuffed butternut squash. It's sure to add a pop of color to your spread. How about a sweet potato casserole with a crunchy oat streusel topping, made with care for the sweet tooth and the savory tooth? With Kroger, fill your table with love and watch as your guests' hearts get as full as their bellies. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Again, hockey fans, are you ready to brave the wild? With me, your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Brave the Wild is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. And of course, I thank Dylan and Kyle for having me on board the Hockey Podcast Network. It is totally awesome. Really happy to be a part of that, coming in out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Well, the Minnesota Wild played 3 games this past week, and, well, they went 2-1. Not too bad. Well, so 3 games to review, 3 games to preview. Nothing easy coming up necessarily, but, well, some impressive performances and a lackluster one, to say the least. But also some bad news, of course. Most of you saw it. Unless you're living in a cave by now, you've heard about it if you didn't actually see it happen, either live or a replay right afterward. Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a second. I hope all of you had a happy New Year. I can't say Merry Christmas anymore, I guess. It's now January. It's now January the 2nd, 2025. So welcome to January. Welcome to 2025 and all of that. I hope you had a happy New Year and welcome to, 2025. That's about all there is to say. Minnesota Wild went 2-1 this past week. I just said it to wrap up the year of 2024. Somehow the Wild beat Dallas in Dallas because Jason Robertson doesn't score anymore. That's interesting. 3-2 win. 3-1 loss at home versus Ottawa. That just totally figures. Like, can't you protect home ice, you sons of biscuits? What are we, like 9-8 at home now? It's pathetic. And then you host the Nashville Predators, have kind of a crazy back and forth, but end up winning 5-3. Cool. Up and coming games we have. In segment number 2, the Washington Capitals were all of a sudden a first place team again. Where'd that come from? Carolina Hurricanes were like second place, third place. They're kind of battling around with the New Jersey Devils around there in the Met, as we could call it. At Washington, at Carolina or North Carolina. Then you host the St. Louis Blues on Tuesday. St. Louis Blues, who were victorious over the Blackhawks. Much to my inaccurate prediction, as Derek wanted me to predict who wins that game. I picked the Blackhawks. But I was on the Blues for a while, and then of course I changed it at the last minute. So guess who gets left holding the bag? Me. Anyhow, the Dallas Stars. Should I just get into Spurgeon? Yeah, I mean it's just Anyhow, well. The Wild did beat the Dallas Stars. Okay, let's get to the Dallas Stars, and I'll get to Spurgeon in a minute. The Wild did beat the Dallas Stars in Dallas. This was a big deal because the Wild always lose, especially in American Airlines Center or whatever it is, Reunion Arena, which it used to be back in the day. Brock Faber scores the overtime winner, a beautiful wraparound. Jonas Brodin's really been offensive of late. Marcus Foligno also tied this sucker up. You realize this game was 2-0 Dallas? But remember the old saying, a 2-goal lead is the most dangerous lead in hockey. Well, it ended up plaguing the Dallas Stars. Midway through the third period, this game was a shutout. Do you realize that? A shutout. Dallas was winning. Jake Ottinger had a shutout going for the Stars. But that's why they play the game. You know, that's why you got to play the whole 60 minutes. Oh, they played 50. But guess what? Even more than 50. Yeah, 50 minutes and 36 seconds. Jonas Brodin opens up the scoring for Minnesota, breaks the shutout after, again, Evgeny Dadonov rolls right off your tongue. Jamie Benn rolls right off your tongue, too. Wyatt Johnson would have an assist, but then Wyatt would score his 7th goal of the season, and Evgeny Dadonov would get his 5th assist. And they get even better. Ila Lebushkin gets his 8th assist, whatever. A 2-0 lead by the Stars. That was midway through the second period, or late in the second period. Figure the Wild are probably not going to win this one, but well, little did we know the Wild would tie this sucker up. Marcus Foligno, of all people, ties it up less than a minute after Jonas Brodin scores. It's a whole different hockey game. The Wild actually have life in Dallas, Texas, which doesn't happen very often. But again, the Stars are not playing all that great. But even in the past, when the Stars weren't so good, they'd still whoop up on the Wild. It seemed like the history was horrendous. Just a few years ago, the Wild broke a winless streak in Dallas that went back before September 11th, 2001. You know that one, the September 11th. Yeah. Well, now we're talking about New Orleans, unfortunately. A New Year's Day attack. That's great. Just, anyhow, we'll stay off of that right now. Yeah. But the Dallas Stars end up falling apart. The Minnesota Wild get the job done. Brock Faber with the gorgeous wraparound. Marco Rossi. Super Marco, we'll just call him because there's no brother out there. There's no other guy. Whatever. It's Super Marco with his 18th assist. Matthew Boldy, yeah, that guy broke his pointless streak. He's been absolutely pointless out there. He's just pointless. Like, heck with him. Okay, just kidding. 19th assist, but Faber again with the wraparound, kind of foiling Ottinger, who overcommitted following Faber. It was kind of funny to see that happen, but good for us. 35 seconds into OT, the Minnesota Wild win in Dallas, Texas, which is we could count on pretty much one hand, I think, right? Historically, against the Dallas Stars in Texas. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we'll take it, baby. We'll take it. It's a nice momentum builder. We're going to host the Ottawa Senators. Man, we might win all 3 games here because Nashville just, they're a mess. Ottawa's, they're getting a little better, but it's a home game. And, oh, wait, we don't win at home, do we? I don't understand it. The Wild muster one bleeping goal against the Ottawa Senators. It's not like the Senators are bad. They have a winning record, but they're not good. They're just okay, Yeah, the Wild opened up the game 1-0. Freddie Gaudreau, Declan Chisholm, whatever the heck his name is, Marcus Foligno, and all of that. They all factor in Freddie Gaudreau's 7th goal of the season. Yay, we're happy he was able to get that. Seems like forever since he did anything after a pretty nice start to the season. Seems like everybody quieted down except for Kirill Kaprizov, and then he has a nagging injury. And somebody else has maybe a catastrophic injury. But, yeah, otherwise the guy that caused it, well, yeah. We'll get to that later. It's just extremely frustrating. And, yeah, it's very strange. So let's just continue where I'm trying to go here. I'm twisting myself all up just thinking about that. But this was a lifeless game on a Sunday afternoon after Christmas, a couple of days after Christmas already. There's no Christmas hangover. You'll beat Dallas, for Pete's sake. And you take the momentum from that Dallas victory, and you lose to the Ottawa Senators at home, 3-1, in a game that was kind of like, I don't know. Why? Like, why can't you beat the Ottawa Senators at home? Claude Giroux gets the empty netter. Yay, Josh Norris, another power play scored against the Wild. Brady Tkachuk assists on Ridley Gregg, 5th goal of the season early in the second period. It's like, okay, we'll be fine. They tied it up, but we're going to score somehow, right? I know Kaprizov isn't playing, but man, we beat the Stars. Nothing. Absolutely bleeping nothing. That was it. I mean, 1 goal. That was it. So I remember the conversation. Yeah, I talked about this. Derek's show. Awesome job. Crease assist. Derek and Teresa hosting the show on Wednesday. And I was talking about Roasty, how he's the guy, yeah, you got to keep him and everything. And yeah, he wins face-offs and everything. He won 9 and lost 6 against Ottawa, so you felt good there. Just about everybody else is either 500 or lost. I guess Huzadinov, 5 wins, 4 losses. That's about all he's good at so far. Eriksson Ek made his return, but it just felt like a lifeless game. It really did. Guys did get shots on goal, including Ryan Hartman. 5 shots on goal. That's nice, but it just all was for naught at the end of the day. Yeah, you get the idea. Beyond frustrating. How do you only get 1 goal against Ottawa? I don't know. And it was Levy Marilyn. He faced 30 shots, but it's like, I don't know, just felt like there was just no life in this game. Everybody was mad after this one, including myself. Levy Marilyn, that's not too bad. Another guy from Finland, yep, and sounds Finnish to me. Pretty young, a draft pick in 2020, third round, just like Rossi, but 2020 draft like Rossi, not third round. I apologize. Only his third game this season, fifth total game in the National Hockey League. Yes, fifth total game in the National Hockey League. Well, good for him, I guess. Third round pick goalies can be good sometimes. I don't know. I mean, Josh Harding looked awfully promising. I can't remember if he was second or third, but years ago. I guess I have the list in front of me all the time, but it's going back quite a ways now. Was it our second draft or our third? I think it was our third draft. Where is Josh? Yeah, second round. 38th overall. I love Josh Harding. I really did. This guy was 71st pick, third round. Yep, 71st pick total from Oulu, Finland. Yep. Well, yeah, man, I'm smacking my lips. Sorry, but yeah, that's a 22-year-old goaltender, pretty damn young. And, well, you get the idea. I think I've talked enough about this game. It sucks. It just sucks. Let's move on. Nashville Predators. Oh, boy. Oh, what am I clicking on? Okay, everything is changing here. Now I'm on Yahoo when I didn't mean to be. So now I get to kind of reset everything because they're being idiots. Yahoo, you're a bunch of... You know what Yahoo is? It's ran by Yahoos. What do you think of that? That's what it sure feels like. And I'm not even trying to be a bad comedian, but when it acts like this, I don't know. I'm just so used to frickin' using it that I can't get enough of Yahoo for some reason. Even though, I don't know, maybe there's other things I could be using to kind of reference things. I don't know, when doing when reviewing games and previewing games. Nashville Predators, New Year's Eve. The Wild's history on New Year's Eve is pretty bad usually, but I guess we've won a couple in a row. That's nice. I remember last year, was it the Vikings on New Year's Eve, and it was just a lifeless. It was like Ottawa, but it was like the Wild versus Ottawa. But in that case, it was Vikings and Packers a year ago. There was just no life in that team. But this year it's the total opposite, of course. Marco Rossi with 2 goals in this game, the opener, and ultimately the one that kind of wrapped the thing up, a power play goal. Wild would have, man, oh man, the power play really awakened in this one. 3 power play goals, Zuccarello, Jonas Brodin again. Rossi would have 3 total points, power play goal to make it 5-3. You saw Mr. Andrew Burnett shaking his head. He was pretty upset, like, what the heck. Chrism, again, getting that shot on net for only a second goal of the year. Beautiful shot. Honestly, quick release. And Ryan Hartman breaking his pointless streak. Scoreless streak, pointless streak. Not goals, but points. No points. He'd been literally pointless out there. His 4th assist of the year. 4th assist of the season. Again, if you're playing injured, go away. Go away. Give someone else a chance. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I look at Ryan Hartman. Joel Eriksson Ek got his 9th assist. Philip Gustafsson, that guy who already has a goal, had his first assist now on the Zuccarello power play, which is kind of funny. But yeah, Rossi also assisted on the Jonas Brodin goal, the 4th of the season for him. Brodin, again, getting some points. He had a pretty solid week this week. Marco Rossi really stepping up as well. Winning, when he wasn't scoring, he was winning faceoffs, but generally speaking, very fun game versus the Nashville Predators. And I'm only delaying the inevitable. Look at the faceoffs with Rossi. Just a faceoff ace. Like, you never see this kind of thing. Wow. 15 faceoffs total. 12 wins, 3 losses. That is epic. Outstanding. It's outstanding. And yes, Huznadinov, 6 wins, 3 losses. He's still pretty darn good in the faceoff circles. Huznadinov. But Rossi suddenly is an ace in the faceoff circle. That guy. The guy that used to wear number 9. Eat your heart out. I don't want to talk about him right now. Whatever his name is. Heru. I think I'm saying it correctly. Yeah, Zachary. 10 penalty minutes. What's that for? Match penalty. Because, what do they call it? A slew foot? Yeah, it was ridiculous. Where you take somebody's feet out from underneath them. Kind of like what my brother and I used to do to each other. But we weren't on ice skates moving towards a wall, like at maybe not a high speed, but high enough speed that once you're off your feet and you're floating in the air, a little bit dangerous going into a wall, you know? You know what I'm saying? Like me and my brother did it, when we'd land on a fairly soft ground, it would make a loud noise, which was hilarious. That's what was funny about it. You'd land on your butt and make a really loud noise in the house. This was not funny, though. This was just, you know what I mean? Like, out in a hockey rink, there's nowhere for his knee or ankle to move. With what they described, it has to be a knee, because why would there be a huge brace on his leg? That's a knee. That's a knee injury. Unless he broke the bone, but I don't think he did. Yeah, if he broke a bone, it'd be a little different. But then again, it had to be it's not a broken bone. I think it's probably a knee injury, maybe hyperextended, maybe it's a MCL, and it pretty, it's a possibility it's an ACL. It looked like an ACL from this vantage point, or from the vantage point we had when we kept watching the replay and it playing over and over and over again on Twitter. You know how that goes, on X. So definitely not happy times when you consider the circumstances there. Definitely sad. Carson Lambos will debut. He's going to make the NHL, so awesome. Carson Lambos is the replacement. I even sent in a tweet in. You know how you know how we do our little lightning rounds. Derek, lightning rounds my show. I lightning round his. Except for last week, I didn't send anything. I just forgot, like a dummy. So I apologize to Derek for that. We were thinking he had an extended answer, which I really enjoyed. You know, they were talking about him and Teresa were talking about Juracek, and that he's not focused defensively at all, and he doesn't really have the movement. He's not able to change direction and the lateral movement to really be a good defender. At least he's not showing it right now, and he's still not even showing it at the AHL level. Whereas the player that they preferred is another Czech, well, especially Derek, was David Spacek. So you go from Juracek to Spacek, who, I liked everything Derek said. I loved it. More focused defensively. And also Spacek has taken steps forward offensively, despite the fact, his defense is decent. It's good. It's solid. But he can score, too. He's got offensive capability. He's the highest scoring defenseman on the Iowa Wild. So that's kind of cool. And then I guess we opted for Carson Lambos because, well, he was a first-round pick, and maybe it's kind of like, okay, Carson, are we going to get going here? Spacek was taken a year later, 5th-round pick. Obviously, big fan of the guy. 14 points in 29 games, 3 goals, 11 assists. And yes, he is the leading scoring defenseman for the AHL's Iowa Wild. He is a -9, so that's a little bit worse than it was earlier in the year. But generally speaking, the guy has capabilities. He has capabilities offensively and defensively. Was outstanding in the 23 World Juniors. He's a defenseman, and he had 8 points in 7 games. I mean, hello, that's awesome. And he was a +7 too. So for the Czech Republic, absolutely wonderful out there. 5th-round pick, 53rd overall in the 2022 NHL draft. That's David Spacek, still only 21 years of age. February 18th, 2003. Sorry, that's a very significant date in my life. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to leave it right there, but no, it's not a wedding, so we'll leave it right where it needs to be. Carson Lambos, also only 21, even though he was taken a year earlier, January 14th, 2003, from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Spacek is born in Columbus, but of course is Czech in his blood from his father. Was it Jaroslav Spacek, who played for the Columbus Blue Jackets? So, of course, David Spacek was born in Columbus, Ohio. Get it? Got it? Good. Carson Lambos was a -13 last season. And I know this isn't the prospect conversation, but this is where you dip into the prospect conversation, because this is possibly an extended opportunity for a young player to get his feet wet in the National Hockey League. Carson Lambos definitely has been focused defensively, you could say. Spacek is a little bit more of a balanced guy, but maybe this is why they're giving Lambos a shot here. He's a +2 with only 5 points in 27 games. So I suppose he actually had 64 penalty minutes last year, and he has kind of racked up the penalty minutes in the past, like the Winnipeg Ice, 63, 67, he had 60, those were with WHL. And then last year in the AHL, 64. This year, 7. Like you could get 7 penalty minutes in one game, you know. So that's all he's gotten in 27 games. That's encouraging. That's interesting that he's staying out of the box. Kind of mid-sized, 6'1". That's cool. I think he has an inch on Spacek, if I'm saying it correctly. Left shot. So that's also interesting considering that Spurgeon, of course, right shot. Again, yeah, when he went into the boards. Like, that's the scariest part about hockey. Like, going into the boards, like, feet first. You know, your ankle could just bend and crack. Kind of like a certain defenseman who is also a left shot that plays for the Blues now. And caused this locker room a lot of trouble in the past. We'll leave it right there. We know who that is, right? So, nope, it's not Juracek who was the right shot. I believe both of these guys are left, aren't they? Lambos and Spacek are left, right? Left, right? That sounded good. No, Spacek is a right shot. That's weird. Yeah, that's what I thought. And that's why you were thinking about Spacek more so than Juracek. So that is weird, bringing up Lambos with the left shot, but I suppose, I guess John Merrill. Yeah, I know. I just love John Merrill. No, I don't hate him. It's just, you know what I mean? It's, it's just nothing to say. You know what I mean? There's like no comment really about that, to be quite honest, other than, dang it. I hope if the Wild, they are giving Carson Lambos his debut against the, they said tomorrow in the tweet, Russo, but it's actually, today. So, in this upcoming game. So it's interesting. It's obviously an important conversation going forward when you talk about the Wild and the defensemen and everything in this Nashville game. And very happy with Marco Rossi. I know everyone calls him Marco Rossi. And then they say it's correctly pronounced Marco Rossi. And he figured just say Rossi since, nobody wants to say it, the other way. Well, I don't know. I've kind of stuck with it the whole time. Not because I'm anything special, but it's fun. And it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Like Gronlund, that's hard, right? No, not really. Gronlund isn't that hard either. Washington Capitals on January 2nd. Yep. So that's what's the up-and-coming games. The Carson Lambos will debut versus the Washington Capitals. That's going to be very interesting. But again, a +2 in several games with Iowa, 27 games with Iowa so far on a team that's, it's below average, generally speaking. They've had some crappy games. So if Carson Lambos is a plus when only scoring 5 points on the year, that's encouraging, meaning like focus defensively and everything. So that's good. I do believe at the earlier levels, though, wasn't Lambos more of an offensive defenseman? And he is a 26th overall pick in the draft. It's kind of weird to think of Lambos as a first-round pick. It doesn't seem like it, but yeah, I mean, he is. In the WHL, kind of like middle of the road in the offensive side. Or no, he's above average. What am I talking about? I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Yep, man, and he was a +60 for that Winnipeg Ice team. They must have been absolutely great to be a +60. +42 the year before, 48 points in 61 games, 22-23, 47 points in only 51 games, and 21-22. So naturally, I was extremely excited to see Carson Lambos stood up for the Iowa Wild. You want to see him get to take that next step. And then, well, here we go. I don't know. So far for Iowa this year, again, see, last year he was a -13, managed 14 points, but was, not ready for much of anything. Just kind of average to below average with Iowa last year. Where this year, again, you're seeing more focused defensively. Probably trying to get that part of his game down, and then maybe can add that offense back at some point. Hopefully he'll have the timing and everything to become an offensive player, at least if it's a middle-of-the-road offensive player, like Spurgeon, like 30-point kind of guy at the NHL level, or maybe that's just not going to happen. Who knows? But certainly at the WHL level, you could see some offense. But I suppose Nick Schultz was an offensive player in the juniors as well. He was like a 47-point kind of guy, and Nick Schultz and offense were not even in the same universe when he suited up for Minnesota. So that's the funny part. He even had pretty good numbers in the AHL in the past, and Nick Schultz. I remember that his 1 year with the Cleveland Lumberjacks before did they move to Houston, or did we just leave them as an affiliate? I forget. No, Houston Aeros were there for many years. Sorry, I'm like discussing with myself. You're probably like, this guy's weird. Sorry. Yeah, I'm a little weird, so it's okay to say that. Well, I'm happy for Carson Lambos. I mean, as scary as it is for Spurgeon, and he's had all these weird issues where he needed multiple surgeries, multiple parts of his body, like what was it, like back and hip and all that kind of stuff, or abdomen. It was like, I forget exactly what everything was because they're not always really super descriptive, but it was kind of general like body type of surgeries, like that, like big parts of your body that can really hamper your mobility for sure, and it could end your career too, that type of thing. And then he has this potentially catastrophic knee injury, getting pushed into the boards intentionally because this guy just, I don't know, he's just a nasty guy. Really bad reputation in the AHL as well, with multiple suspensions. And even before the AHL, it's just ridiculous. What was it, like juniors and such? And they're saying how it's like a clean slate in the NHL. We can't judge him off of his record in previous leagues or previous stops in the before the NHL. It's like it's a clean slate here. I mean, sorry. So he might only went up with like a few game suspension versus like it could have been a huge one, like 25 games or something big. If he was a multi-offender. That's why Matt Cook would get these huge like 10-game suspensions. Anytime he did anything dirty, kind of dirty or chippy out there. 10 games and more, like double-digit game suspensions, where that's not going to happen, unfortunately, to the Nashville fourth liner. Again, thank you very much for all of that nonsense. Zachary LaHaru. Well, not many people are going to like him very much. Again, he got the match penalty. He didn't get to see a whole lot of action go up against him, but I'm sure next game, if he's there and all that, going to be a stare down, and then next thing you know, the gloves will drop. It'll be like, that's kind of what's going to have to happen, because that's hockey. Some people think it's silly. Nah, I think it's okay. I'm not offended by hockey players having that little code where, all right, buddy, you pull this crap, I'm gonna have to face you one-on-one with my fists right at the beginning, right out of the gate. We're gonna have to go at it. Like the big guy, like a Foligno, which is most likely what it's going to be when the time does come. So, unfortunately, Spurgeon, it's terrible injury. We'll see. Maybe he got lucky. Maybe it won't be so bad. But it's probably going to be like, it's still going to be LTIR regardless. You're still going to see, like 5 games is like dead freaking minimum probably when you're talking large braces on your leg, which... What's in the middle of your leg, it's called a knee, and da-da-da-da-da. So that's why I'm kind of concluding it's a knee injury, because most likely it is. Almost has to be. So that's more of a nervous chuckle, not laughing, not happy about what happened. So, Jared Spurgeon to get MRI after the slew foot. Yep, so that's what was, that's conversations with Mr. Spurgeon and such. Okay, so I'm going to be frank and honest with you. I'm recording the first segment on Wednesday. So just the first segment, just to kind of lighten things up for tomorrow. Because, maybe, it's kind of like getting back to work, getting back kind of in the swing of things. I want to be able to have enough time to do a good quality show rather than rush through it, especially when something like this happens, like a Spurgeon type of situation, and maybe extensive conversation regarding Lambos and such. So first segment is Wednesday, but the rest of the show is Thursday, just letting you know. Usually the shows are Thursdays, but since I have the free time to do this on a Wednesday, which is not normal, sometimes Wednesday morning, but I don't know, I like to keep things all on the same day normally, but except for like state of this, state of that. That's usually split up all over the place just because it's a pretty big project. But this one, there's a lot of stuff. So, okay, so that, Chisholm is moving to the right side. So that's the plan. Lambos, left shot. Yep. Okay, so Yep, left. So it's either Brodin or Chisholm are moving to the right side in order to accommodate Lambos coming to the National Hockey League. Brendan Gaunce, who had a hat trick for Iowa recently, of course. Kirill Kaprizov is not on the trip, so they're trying to avoid nagging injuries, which they're saying kind of between the lines is probably a groin. That's as nagging as it gets. The only other thing that can be nagging is a hamstring. Tell me about it. I fell on the steps again. Yeah, outside because the fog froze. You know, freezing fog, how fun that is and how wonderful it is for everybody saying how happy they were it was above freezing. Yeah, well, when fog freezes, it's not fun at all. You might fall. Scraped up my area below my thumb. It's not the end of the world. Could have been bad, though. I pulled my hamstring pretty good on the left side, but I don't know, I had a nice speedy recovery, thankfully, in just a couple of days, but still, that was terrible. So I'm very much welcoming this cooler, drier air mass right now. I'll take flurries any day, light little flurries any day over fog and freezing fog and nonsense like that. So stop, I got to stop making it about me, but still, nagging injuries suck, and I guess Brendan Gaunce is back up to the Minnesota Wild, so good for him, I suppose, and welcome to the NHL, Carson Lambos. We'll see how that turns out. The Mike Modano Award winner for this episode is Super Marco Rossi. Yep, Super Marco Rossi will have a mushroom on the jersey coming up. Yep. I mean, that's the promotion that I would do. If you're going to have the Darth Faber, you can do Super Marco and have the little mushroom sound. Or Fire Flower or whatever with Marco Rossi. Of course, Fire Flower he probably has Flurry. Yeah, like no kidding. That's what they always talk about, flowers and Flurry. It's wonderful and everything. But he's probably done after this year, right? I mean, yeah. Anyhow, eventually you have to retire. Like, you just have to. You can't play till you're 45. You're not Tom Brady. So, Tom Brady still winning Super Bowls at 44. That's kind of rare. Just a little bit on the rare side, I'd have to say. But the memorial, the whole James Shepard Memorial popcorn maker, which, I'll get off of that. But where am I going with this one is, I don't know. I can't pick on Hartman necessarily. He finally scored something. It's just going to be the guy. It's just going to be it could be like a team effort versus the Ottawa Senators. That was extremely frustrating. But I think it has to simply go to the national player, that LaRue. I think he has to get it. Zachary, I think he has to get it, just generally speaking, because that kind of nonsense just doesn't belong in pro sports. It just doesn't. Like, it's intent to injure, as far as I'm concerned. It's intent to injure. Like, I don't know. I mean, even doing that in the middle of the, like center ice or something, it's still potentially dangerous. Something stupid could happen, possibly. But I suppose, like, if you're going to, I don't know. I suppose if you're going to do that to try to impress people, I guess do it at center ice. That's my only possible. Otherwise, just, no, that kind of nonsense doesn't belong in sports no matter what, because something stupid could happen at the end of the day. With that said, we'll take a quick break and come back, preview the upcoming games, hear from DraftKings before that, of course, and look at the prospects some more. And we are back here on Brave the Wild, segment number 2. We're going to preview the upcoming 3 games, including Carson Lambo's debut versus Washington. I'm going to just keep saying that, aren't I? And, of course, looking at the prospects. But first, let's hear from DraftKings. It's the most wonderful time of the year for getting in on all the hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football and basketball, and pro hockey too, almost 24/7. And here's a gift For all new customers, bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. When you bet just $5. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/bball. And we thank you, DraftKings, always. So on to the previews, the 3 games to preview. The Washington Capitals, all of a sudden they're good, just like the Washington Redskins, or, Commanders. That's never going to get out of my system. And maybe there's a possibility of it coming back. We'll see what happens. Injury report, it's going to be rich. It's rich stuff. Well, Kirill Kaprizov was placed on injured reserve on New Year's Day. Happy New Year, everybody. Yeah, well, it's more of a nagging groin, is what they say. Spurgeon, all they have to say so far, and this is still, now it's Thursday. I was recording the first segment on Wednesday, so I fessed up. Still nothing new. It's just did not return to Tuesday's December 31st game. So as if it's just a little thing, it's okay. We'll see what happens. He just didn't return. Well, though at the same time, I suppose just didn't return does sound ominous. It could be anything. But yes, it's more than likely knee-related, unfortunately, because a big brace on his leg. Not his ankle or to his foot, whatever. No, it's a knee. Almost 100% chance. Jacob Lauko, the Wild said on Sunday, December 15th, that Lauko is week to week after aggravating his previous muscle issue, according to Michael Rousseau of The Athletic. As for the Capitals, and yes, you know you won't have to hear about the Wild injury report again, but we will talk about the teams we're playing. Martin Fehervary is day-to-day and will be reevaluated Thursday, January the 2nd, according to Sammy Silber of Hockey News. Sonny Milano. You better watch out for this guy, let me tell you. Sonny Milano. The Washington Capitals placed Sonny Milano on long-term injury reserve on Wednesday, November the 20th, per Stephen Wino. What's going on here? These are funny names. Of the Associated Press. Sorry, Stephen Wino. I'm not trying to be rude. TJ Oshie out until 2030, it looks like. No, I'm just kidding, but it doesn't look good. The Capitals said on September 18th that Oshie will be put on long-term injured reserve due to a chronic back injury. Sounds like Zach Parise, unfortunately, which is expected to cost him the entire season. So, yes, sounds like Zach Parise years ago. Okay, for the team comparisons, the Wild are 17th in goals. Washington is second. And, of course, Alex Ovechkin is also second. Yeah, behind Wayne Gretzky in total goals. Yes, Wayne Gretzky did used to score goals in the early part of his career. Just imagine, he would have probably had over 1,000. That's how insane he was at the beginning. And the crazy stat, when you think about it, you put 2 and 2 together, you know how hard it would be to get 1,000 goals? Because obviously nobody's gotten it. 20 years of averaging 50 goals a season. That's all you need to know about that. Anyhow, goals against the Wild are 7th. The Washington Capitals are 3rd. And Darcy Kemper had a shutout for the Kings, not the Capitals, recently. So, interesting. Back with the Kings again, shutting out the New Jersey Devils. So, unfortunately, Devils State of Mind podcast probably a little frustrated with that game. Getting shutouts sucks. Washington's also second in the league in assists. Figured I'd bring that up. Power play, the Wild is 20th. Washington's 14th. Penalty kill, the Wild stink, 30th. And the Capitals are 7th. Penalty minutes, the Wild are 10th now. That keeps climbing up. Wonderful. Still in the upper half, I guess. Washington 17th. And that's it for that. It's a 2-game series, of course, because it's the Eastern Conference. This game is in Washington. Tonight, 6 o'clock, Carson Lambos suits up, or at least I hope he does for the Wild. He better, unless there's some last second, maybe not. And then Thursday, March 27th, at 7 p.m. in Xcel Energy Center, of course, we'll have a heck of a lot more sunlight than we do now, but it is growing. very slowly on a daily basis. That's what's good about January versus December. So it's starting to grow. Obviously, it starts to grow at the very end of December too, but January it actually starts to pick up a little bit. It isn't like 20 seconds or something a day. you know, the Washington Capitals have been kind of in and out. They haven't been as hot as they were earlier in the year, but they're still way up there. Beating the Kings, losing to the Boston Bruins, beating Toronto, wow, and then losing to Detroit, wow. They just fired their coach and brought in, was it our former guy, Todd McClellan with the Houston Aeros, right? Todd McClellan is now in Detroit. I believe that's his fourth stint in the National Hockey League, starting with the Sharks, going to the Kings, going to the Oilers, and now Detroit. I may have even missed one along the way. The Capitals then beat the Bruins on New Year's Eve after losing a week earlier. The Wild, of course, also 3-2 in our last 5, losing to Winnipeg and Ottawa, respectively. Anyhow, as for the Capitals, who are not the Crapitals, I'm not a big fan, though. I'm just not. I don't know. I like the logo. That's about it. Logan Thompson's been in net. That's a very familiar name with the Vegas Golden Knights. But it seemed like he never... Yeah, he was always hurt or something. And then eventually, the guy that took over did a hell of a job, and good for him. Logan Thompson, 2.3 goals against average, very good season, almost 92% save percentage, 15-2 on the year. Holy cow, 15-2. That is scorching hot. That's white hot. Charlie Lindgren, 10-8. That's the other goalie, of course. They've pretty much been a platoon, maybe due to injury or something. 2.69 goals against average. And no shutouts for Washington, but consistency. Lindgren, though, his save percentage is just under 90, which is kind of weird, despite the, I guess he looks like a backup goalie with his stats, where Logan has just been nuts. Absolutely nuts. Dylan Strome is leading the club in overall scoring with 40 points, 11 goals, 29 assists to lead the team in that stat. Ovechkin is leading the club in goals with 10 assists, 17 goals, 10 assists, 27 total points, and he's missed a ton of games. So, because he's getting older and he's kind of injury prone and stuff, especially over the years. Pierre-Luc Dubois, 5 goals, 23 assists on the season. Good for him. Ovechkin, I already talked about him. Jacob Chychrun, I didn't realize he was Jewish, so that's interesting. And that's nothing wrong with that at all, of course. I just didn't know, but that's kind of cool. 11 goals. Wow, that's a lot for a defenseman. 14 assists, 25 total points. Good for him. So there's a lot of, we can name at least 2 very good Jewish defensemen. I think actually there's a few. It's interesting because I remember there was a list of Jewish players and they're all pretty good. Even Luke Cunnin, pretty good player, but not that good. He's one of the weaker ones. Nick Dowd, 10 goals for him, only 4 assists. What else am I looking at here? I think that's about it for those guys. But it's a very talented team, I suppose. They're winning games. That's what matters. At the end of the day, first place in the Met, 25-10-2. I don't know. The Wild have been so in and out this year, and our success level against Washington has been it's been up and down over the years. It's kind of checkered. It's like 50-50-ish. One day, they look like they could beat them. The next day, they just smoke us, 5-1 or something. Or we have a great game, like 4-2. I think Washington wins something like 4-2, maybe an empty netter type of deal. Most likely guy to score for Minnesota is not going to be Kaprizov because that stinks. Matt Boldy finally scores a goal. Hey, how about that? Matt Boldy finally does something and scores. Obviously, Super Marco has been super of late. He's on pace for 69 points, 30 goals, 39 assists. 30-goal season for Marco Rossi, according to his projection, on the season so far. Thank you, ESPN, for always having that. Carolina Hurricanes. This could be a tough week. Tough. Third place in the Metropolitan Division, who's been ever so good. The New York Rangers are a massive disappointment, but it's kind of like Washington and New York kind of switched, didn't they? That's kind of what happened. They switched. They touched a statue, and their souls switched. Like some crazy ancient statue where your souls switch if you touch it at the same time. I know, it's just some goofy myth, but that's kind of like what happened with the Washington Capitals and the Rangers this year, I think. Where Carolina's always competitive. I picked them to win the Cup every stinking year except this one. I think, I picked Edmonton. Hopefully it'd be nice if the Wild won, but we'll see if I'm right this time. Tyson Yost, remember that name? Undisclosed injury. No, he just can't play. Okay, sorry. That's New Year's Day, so it just happened. Conversation there, undisclosed. the former Wild center who scored like 5 points in a ton of games or less. It was like even less than that. It was like a point in like 20 or something. Shane Gottisbehere announced that he will be out for an extended amount of time for Chip Alexander of the Rally News and Observer. Rolls right off your tongue. That was at the end of December there. Jack Drury, injured reserve, just like Kirill, unfortunately, December 30th after being, I guess it's proactive to December 12th. Carolina Hurricanes, 11th in goals, 9th in goals against, 3rd in assists. That's a notable stat, so I brought it up. 5th on the power play. Are you ready for this one? Penalty kill? You know how the Wild are 30th on the penalty kill? What are the Carolina Hurricanes? First. Penalty minutes, 7th. And so on and so forth. They get another 2-game series. Eastern Conference. These are both road games. Of course, Saturday, January the 4th, 6 p.m. should be a fun one, I hope. Then the Wild host the Carolina Hurricanes, February the 6th. And I'll say again, what do I always say? There should be more sunlight by then, and there will be. Usually by the start of February, it's completely different than the start of January. Carolina is 2-3, and then their last 5, so they haven't been so great. They beat the Rangers like everyone else. Lost to Nashville. I think I saw that. They lost to Nashville and New Jersey, not in back-to-back games, over the Christmas break. There was that you can't practice thing, and Dallas disobeyed that rule, and they're getting in trouble. Then they beat New Jersey the next day, back-to-back, one New Jersey, one into Carolina, the next one 5-2 victory. Columbus Blue Jackets, they beat the Carolina Hurricanes, beat them on New Year's Eve. Yep. Wild played Columbus, remember what, years ago. 2 best records in all of hockey, and of course Columbus beat the Wild. Oh, that sucked. I hated that. And it was kind of like the beginning of the Wild going from one of the best teams in hockey to not so much. And like both teams didn't do a whole lot in the playoffs. Remember that? In fact, pretty much did nothing. It was so sad. The 2 sister clubs from the 2000 expansion draft. Best records in hockey at the midpoint or so of the season, like New Year's Eve, whatever. And then, and then it all vanished. It all vanished. Flash in the pan, as they say. Ooh, they don't get any easier here. Pyotr Kochetkov. I think I got it. See, here's another anomaly. 2.52 goals against average. I guess it's not spectacular, but I'd take that. I'd take that in a starter or like a platoon guy. Save percentage just under 90. What the heck? But he did get a shutout, as did Spencer Martin, who you don't see near as much of. Yeah, he's 3-4 on the year. Spencer Martin, goals against average 3.89. Yikes. Save percentage of 84.6. But he has a shutout on the year. He's one of those guys. Frederick Anderson has only been in 4 stinking games. His name isn't even mentioned on the injured list. It's probably because there's too many players. 1.48 goals against average. 1.48 goals against average. Outstanding. Frederick Anderson, when he's been in there, he's been freaking awesome. But boy, if they had him, they might be battling Washington for first place. Sorry. Martin Nikas leading the club in scoring. So they have a few Martins one way or another here. 45 points in 37 games. Outstanding. Second in goals with 14, but first with 31 assists. Sebastian Aho, bless you, 12 goals and 28 assists. Good for him. Dmitry Orlov has a plus 16 on the season. Outstanding defenseman. 4 goals and 13 assists on the year. Seth Jarvis, who can definitely play a physical game, but he's a heck of a player. He was one of those guys that went, I believe he went ahead of Marco Rossi, didn't he? Pretty sure he did. Yeah, it was that great 2000 draft. A lot of good players came out of there, except at the very top for some reason. Those guys have not been all that productive. They got in the league earlier than Rossi, but haven't done a whole lot, really. They take baby steps forward, like Byfield, what did he get, his 9th goal yesterday? So it's less than Rossi. Sorry, it just is. Brent Burns, man, now he's very old, unfortunately. Just like old Jumbo Joe, his teammate in San Jose for many years. Brent Burns, only 12 points on the season. 3 goals, 9 assists, but he's played in all 37. So go Brent in that case. But, man, Brent was on some pretty good Sharks teams. Stanley Cup finals, all that. Conference finals. And then Carolina, they haven't had a whole lot of success, unfortunately. They've been great in the regular season, but, they get to the second round or something. I think they got to the conference one of those years, but they got beat, pretty quickly, if I remember correctly. Andrei Svechnikov, love that name. rolls up your tongue. 12 goals, 14 assists for the Svetcher. Yes. Carolina, this is another tough one, of course. I'd like to go on a limb and say the Wild can get this one done. I would. I want to. What's the next game? St. Louis? I don't know. This might be a 1-2 week for the Wild. Too many injuries, of course. Spurgeon being out doesn't help. I'd like to believe Lambos can get a point. I think Lambos gets a point in one of these games. Maybe the next one. Maybe we'll leave it there. Carolina Hurricanes, Marco Rossi scores again. But the Wild do not win, unfortunately. Final score. Well, I mean, it's hockey, so it's funky. 3-2. 3-2, 2-1 type of game. 3-2. 3-2 Carolina. Pretty good offense there. Great power play, phenomenal penalty kill. I think the Wild only muster 2 goals, and Rossi gets one of them. And a couple of days off. Tuesday, the 7th of January. After January 6th. We'll see what happens there. That one is 7 o'clock start in Xcel Energy Center. One game above 500 for Suitors Bluers. And then we go to Carolina. Then we host Colorado on Thursday, but that's later. Why did I hit St. Louis? It just opened the whole St. Louis team. Didn't want to do that. You want to have the matchup, Jay. Dummy, right? St. Louis Blues. You know, the team that beat the Blackhawks on, and whatever it's called. You know, we're happy for them. Those outdoor games, stadium, whatever. Radek Faksa did not play in that game on Chicago on New Year's Eve. Okay, well, all right. Nick Leddy will accompany the team in their upcoming 4-game road trip, but still remains on IR. Not LTIR, but IR. Going back to, oh my goodness, well, gosh, he's been out since October. Yep, Torrey Krug, obviously one of those big names, injured reserve since the beginning of the season. Dang. Yep, so that doesn't help their cause for having much of a year, unfortunately. The Blues are 18, 17, and 4. 5th place in the Central. The Wild are in 2nd, 20, 11, and 4. Because I never mentioned that yet. St. Louis is 23rd in goals, 18th in goals against. 25th in the power play, 28th in the penalty kill. Crappy special teams, sounds familiar to these parts. 13th in penalty minutes. The Wild lead the season series 2-0. The other teams, of course, the Wild had not played yet. These are both in St. Louis, 4-1 on October 15th and 4-2 on Tuesday, November 19th. Pre-happy Thanksgiving there. Tuesday, Jan 7th in X, and then Saturday, March 15th. Yes, you know what I'm going to hint at, so I won't say it. Okay, more sunlight by then. Yes, because I'm looking forward to it, dang it. That's what I like about January is spring isn't that far away anymore. It's not. It's really not, actually. Like Halloween, spring is light years away. Like, okay, well, yeah. Anyhow, St. Louis is 3-2 in their last 5, including crushing the Blackhawks 6-2. Pretty crazy. Losing to Buffalo a couple days before, 4-2, annihilating Nashville. They give up too many goals, 7-4. Again, Andrew Burnett, I'm sorry about what's going on there. I really am. He might be next after the Detroit coach here, losing 4-0 to St. Louis on December 23rd. So, interesting. They are 3-2 in their last 5. Like I just said, Kyrou is leading the club in scoring with 32 points. That's pretty good. I mean, I'd take him. 16 goals, 16 assists. Depends on what price, I suppose. 39 games. Robert Thomas leads the club in assists with 21. 8 goals in 27 games, 29 points. So he's kind of the most efficient overall player on the team, but he's missed games. He's missed 12. Dylan Holloway, I do believe he played for the Flames once upon a time, right? Pretty like almost 90% sure. He did not. I got him mixed up with someone else. He's pretty young. 14th pick in that 2020 draft, so we like to talk about all the time here in Minnesota. At least some of us do. Pavel Buchnevich, love that name. 9 goals, 15 assists, 24 points on the season. There's a lot of plus guys at the top. That's impressive. And even this Philip Broberg, plus 11 with 14 points on the year. Then Brandon Saad is -9. That's sad. Sorry. Kyrou is a +7. Thomas is a +9. Holloway is a +8. And Buchnevich is a +5. Not bad numbers overall. Who's this guy over here? He's a -3. He's played in 39 games. It's about how old he is, too. 1 goal, 6 assists by the locker room lawyer himself, the old fire the coach, I'm in charge, Ryan Suter, that guy. Yep. Anyhow, drafted in 2003. Wow. Yep, he is 39, and he's turning 40 on January 15th. So, are we at the end here? Very possible. Is this? Yeah, it is just his first season in St. Louis, isn't it? I thought he was with St. Louis last year. He's still with Dallas, huh? Well, he's in danger of his first single-digit season. I think he will eclipse double digits at some point unless he gets hurt. But we'll see. Knock on wood. He has been very, very, very Iron Man-like since leaving Minnesota. He has not missed a single game. So just to be respectful, whether we're fans of him or not here in Minnesota, he has not missed a single game since leaving Minnesota. That's impressive, actually. Dallas, 82, 82, 82, and now he's played in every game for the Blues. So it's pretty good. Yeah, that's impressive. He sometimes missed a game or two, and then, of course, he had that freakish ankle injury, similar to what happened going into the boards, feet first, to a certain other defenseman named Jared Spurgeon, but different circumstances. Like the skate kind of got caught in the wall, and then it's a very odd injury. Like it was odd. It didn't help him, and I can't imagine that has I don't know. Even though he's been healthier, he's been playing all this time. I can't imagine it's made his career better. Obviously, it's probably slowed him down. That he was fast to begin with. Chronic pain, possibly. So nothing to laugh at for anyone. No, nobody wants to think about that. But, well, just thought I'd check in on Jared Spurgeon. Nick Leddy has played in 4 games on the season. No points. Obviously, Minnesota ties way back. Obviously, from Minnesota, but also a draft pick that was traded for that guy. Traded for Kem Parker. One of the greatest trades in the history of nobody. History of nothing. It was a good trade for the Blackhawks for the most part, but I don't know. It was better for the Blackhawks than us, okay? We'll leave it at that. Minnesota will beat the St. Louis Blues. Final score. Okay, let's look at the goalies first. I apologize. I've been babbling like an idiot. Jordan Binnington still sticking around, of course. 10 and 14 on the season. 2.89 goals against average with 2 shutouts. He's kind of a feast or famine guy. Obviously, if you didn't notice, like when he's on the feast, they won the Stanley Cup. But since then, it's been famines with some feasts mixed in. Did help beat us in a playoff series, if I remember correctly, so that wasn't fun. That wasn't fun at all. Weren't we beating Husso, and then they put Binnington in, and everything changed. 89.7 goals against average, 2 shutouts. That would be with Berube still at coach. Joel Hofer with a 8-3 record, 2.75 goals against average, a save percentage of 90.5, and 1 shutout on la saison. The Wild will beat the Blues 4-2. They will beat the Blues 4-2. The most likely guy to score in the game. Again, Carson Lambos will get a point in this one. Carson Lambos will get his first NHL point if he plays, but he'll get his first NHL point against the Blues depending on what the lineup is. Because you know how things change quickly. We're going to move to this guy, and he's going to go make popcorn, not literally, figuratively. At least I would hope. It'd be funny. That would be something to watch. The most likely guy to score for this one, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing so hard, but it's a funny thought, that's all. Who's going to score in this one? It will be, my head is just spinning here. Jonas Brodin. How about that? Jonas Brodin, because he's been on a nice run of late. Jonas Brodin finds the back of the net, putting the puck on net and scores. Or could I even go with Sism? Declan Sism. Let's go with Brodin for this one. Why not? Jonas Brodin will score. Minnesota wins 4-2 in this game. And Carson Lambos, well, at least at one point, kind of like a cheap bet here. Out of one of these 3 games, he will get his first point. But if I have to put a gun to the head, a game where he will get his first point, like an assist or goal. St. Louis Blues. The Wild finished 1-2 this week, unfortunately. Maybe we squeak out a point versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Could be. Maybe I'll say they do. It's like a 4-3. Isn't that what I was saying? Or 3-2. Maybe it's the Wild squeak out a point, but Carolina gets the win. That type of thing. So yeah, we'll get 3 out of 6 points this week at the end of the day. So now let's hear from Game Time. Don't you just love the sounds of hockey? The banging into the boards, the tapping of the sticks, the oohs and ahs of the crowd, the cheers, the roars, and the horn, and even some boos as well. But that's part of it. With the Game Time app, you can absolutely do that, getting to your favorite Minnesota Wild game up and coming. All kinds of options coming up. Possibly you have the Utah Hockey Club, well, as soon as tonight, but maybe I'm a little late on that one. But that's how it goes. A great upcoming game I would recommend, personally, January the 7th, the St. Louis Blues come to town. You might not think, oh, the Blues, yeah, but still, you get to see Ryan Suter again, maybe boo him a little bit, and the reasonable pricing is incredible. What I love is the different possible deals. You can get the super deal, a lower deck seat, and in the Xcel Energy Center, the sidelines are so good anyway, no matter where you sit. But with the Game Time app, you can go all over the place with all the different prices. They're all right in front of you right now. You don't have to, oh, how much is it if I press this? How much is it if I press that? It's already there. Isn't that great? Super deal, $79 right now in the lower deck, section 110, row 11. The amazing deal, which I always cherish, $43. $43. Again, it's upper deck, which is totally fine. Row 3, section 222, but you're going to see everything. And I mean everything from that vantage point. An amazing deal, and that's actually my overall favorite, usually when I were to buy tickets. And this app obviously gives you so much value. There's multiple amazing deals. $45 for a professional hockey game in this day and age is a pretty damn good deal. You can even get, there's Gopher basketball tickets coming up during the Christmas week. As cheap as $3, which is pretty crazy. But otherwise, $27, $14 upcoming. Timberwolves games are always inexpensive. And of course, you're going to get the whole map, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, imagine getting to see the Boston Celtics on the 2nd of January. Boston Celtics, $25? That's pretty wild. Pun not intended. Super deal up to $196, but the amazing deal, $24? Absolutely wild. Absolutely awesome. Obviously, you got the Game Time picks, curation. Makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater. So yes, you can get concerts on here, all the different possible sports. So like once your location is set, everything's there. And I mean everything, all the different possible teams, concerts, and all that up and coming. It's absolutely spectacular. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. So imagine, again, like $42 to go see the St. Louis Blues. It's $22. It's awesome. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. And thank you always, Game Time. Appreciate that very, very much. Let's look at the prospects, if humanly possible. Let's go to Iowa, also if humanly possible. Obviously, I talked about Carson Lambos a bit in the most recent segment. Travis Boyd is leading the club in scoring for Iowa of late. Remember, Brendan Gaunce now leads the team in goals after getting a hat trick. Is he up with Minnesota now? It's looking like he's not. I don't know. I'm confused. It's kind of like a back and forth with him with the whole Kaprizov situation. But 11 goals, 17 points for the 30-year-old Sudbury, Ontario native, who's also minus 10. So, again, I talked about that recently. Spacek is the leading scoring defenseman. Say that fast 3 times. Well, it's not that hard. 3 goals, 11 assists. I talked about, again, he is the 5th overall leading scorer, or tied for 4th with Hunter Haight. And he's played just 1 more game than Hunter. He's got more points than Michael Milne, who has missed 4 games, but still, because he was up with Minnesota. It's not because he was hurt. Yep. Caden Bankier, minus 13 on the year in 29 games, 12 total points. Luke Toporowski is a plus 2. The 23-year-old Davenport, Iowa native, 6 goals, 5 assists. Sammy Walker, 20 games, 2 goals, 7 assists. He's a plus 5, though. That's pretty good. Plus 5. Raska still at only 15 games, missing time, 40 penalty minutes on the season. 40 penalty minutes. Ryan O'Rourke is a minus 2, 23 games, 4 points. Obviously, again, missing some time, unfortunately. But showing some promise, some improvement, again, with the, as they call it, more disciplined play and such. Carson Lambos, again, plus 2. That's something that I like. And for a 21-year-old being a plus 2 defenseman at the AHL level, that's pretty good. Ferguson's been kind of up and down. Samuel I can't say it. I'm doing a Sid Hartman, 2.92, no shutouts. No shutouts for anybody except Jesper Wallstedt so far this year. His goals against average is hovering just under 4 on the season, though, which is really disheartening, and just below 87% save percentage. Very disheartening season for Jesper Wallstedt. Some people are a bit down on him right now, and I can understand. 16 games for Jack Pert, no points, and a -3 on the season. Jack Pert, definitely more of a stay-at-home than I originally thought. I used to think he was some kind of a power play guy, but not at all. Not at all. Graham Clark with 8 points on the year, 6 goals, 2 assists. So Iowa kind of meh still. Nobody's standing out at the moment other than, of course, Liam Ogren. 10 goals, 6 assists. He did get his 6th assist recently. 16 total points for Liam Ogren. Remember, he had that hat trick a little while back as well. Second on the team with 10 goals in only 19 games. Very efficient player. And we'll see. We'll see how his progress leads to the National Hockey League, but at least he's doing something at the NHL, or AHL level, pardon me. Stockholm, Sweden native, of course, at age 20. Hunter Haight has played 9 more games and is 2 points behind. Also, age 20 from Strathroy, Ontario. Hunter Haight. We shall continue and stop the hating. Just kidding. Okay, that was dumb. Sorry. Damon Hunt watch. Well, what the heck? I keep doing it and I can't help myself. Now 11 games with the Cleveland Monsters. 2 goals, 5 assists. Pretty productive. He's tacking on the points a bit there in Cleveland. Yep, he is. He's going to be more of an offensive force maybe as his career progresses. Maybe it's just different coaching too, or different team. Obviously that's just how it is. Things change. They do. Danil Yurov, well, the more things change, the more they stay the same, unfortunately, again, with the limited minutes over there in Russia as he's on his way out, hopefully at the end of the season there. 9 goals, 7 assists. He's a half a point a game guy so far for Metallurg because of, what they're doing. But at least he won't get hurt, though. At least I hope not. Please don't get hurt. All the college players still coming off break. 5 points for Regan Lawrence. I'm not going to look at the college players today, maybe. Well, I could just go quick, just say where they're at. Yep, 3 points, 3 assists in only 11 games for Ryan Healy. Yeah, Petrovsky, we talked about him last week, how they're just burying the poor guy in Czech. Yeah, 26 games, nothing. Just a -4 and 2 penalty minutes. And they're playing him like 2 to 4 minutes a game. 2 to 4 minutes a game. Minutes. Yeah, that's pathetic. It's horrible. It's messed up. Clark, of course, Jimmy Clark of the Gophers, 13 points. Again, they're on break. Like I said, 4 goals, 9 assists in 20 games, 13 points. Big step from last year. Kalen Paka, this is juniors, and of course these guys go on break usually too. Right shot defenseman, 13 games for the Calgary Hitmen. He's been elite for them. 4 goals, 6 assists in only 13 games. Remember, he is a defenseman. Great numbers. Aaron Pionk. Again, one of the older, a little bit older than the other prospects in this in that 2023 draft. 21 years of age already. 13 assists for Minnesota Duluth, and he is a +1 versus a -9 last year for UMD. Riley Height, still in juniors, getting those numbers though. At least 27 games, 43 points, 17 goals, 26 assists for Riley Height. See how he turns out. Kumpalainen. I don't know why I always say, when I say his name, I always imagine like somebody with a New Orleans accent. Rasmus Kumpalainen. I don't know. That's how I think. I'm weird. -8 so far for SM Liga. That's the league, of course. The Pelicans. They like Pelicans over there, apparently. 3 goals, 8 assists. Well, the New Orleans Pelicans are struggling pretty bad in the NBA. I don't know what happened there. Charlie Stramel, 5 goals, 8 assists in 18 games, 13 points. Massive step forward from his years in Wisconsin. Leskovar, 5 games. That's all you need to know. Big dude, but not good numbers, of course. Only 5 games. Chase Woodsky, 3.39 goals against average in 30 games, 12 and 14 on the year. Save percentage right at 90. And, no shutouts on the season. That's what I thought. Yep. I hate to say it, but better numbers last year. About a half a goal difference. I don't know, but sometimes it's the play in front It's a combination of things. It's called hockey. Sebastian Soliani, 2 games at the juniors so far, plus one for Finland. Otherwise, he had 1 goal so far in his Finnish league there. Ivis Temper, I don't know, I'm probably saying it wrong, but 2 goals at the World Junior Classic. Kumpalainen, sorry, let's go back. He has 1 assist, two games and no goals, for Soliani. The other guy, Kumpalainen, again, backtracking, 3 games, 1 assist for him so far, and he's a +1. Good. Finland under 20, that's the World Juniors, of course. And the next one is Kiviharu. 11 points in 32 games for his league there in Helsinki. 2 assists in 2 assists in 4 games in the World Junior Classic for the World Junior Championships. That's what the C is. Under 20, of course, 4 games, 2 assists. But he's a -3, unfortunately. Kiviharu. All right, so see how that turns out. Ryder Ritchie, 22 points. Okay, yeah, nice week this past week. Catching up now, and now he's a point-a-game guy. Good. Nope. Yeah, that is correct. It is correct. 9 goals, 13 assists. Nice little step forward. He might be one of the players of the week this week. -3 on the season, but point-a-game player is ahead of last year's pace, so that's better. Good, Ryder. Riding high. I know. Sorry. Steve William, of course, the elite defenseman for the national champion Denver Pioneers, much to my chagrin, but thrilled to have him in our program, on our team and our future and everything. +8 on the season. In 4 games for the United States of America. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. I don't think he's going to have to tell his coach what team he plays for. But hopefully he won't have to, if you know what I mean. +5. Wow. +5. That's outstanding. Who do you play for, Zeev? United States of America. That'll be all, gentlemen. That was a lot shorter this time. Okay, sorry. I play for Denver. Get back on that line. Okay, sorry. I can't help myself. Sorry. Anyhow, it's nice to see Ryder Ritchie taking that step forward, because I know he's had a kind of he was actually a slight step behind last year, which is not something you want to see with young guys in the juniors. It's like, so he's actually slightly ahead now. So strong week for Ryder Ritchie. Good, and good to see the 4 guys in the tournament there contributing for the most part, especially William and Kumpalainen. So that's nice to see. And Kiviharu. Soliani, so far not so much, but he doesn't score points really yet right now. He's just kind of a stay-at-home guy, but we'll see how he develops. Still got a future, I'm sure. 5th-round pick for Minnesota in 2024. With that, we will take a quick break and hear from all of you in fan interaction. Can't wait. And we are back here on Brave the Wild, segment number 3, fan interaction segment. Want to thank Eric Weinberger, apparently the president of Believe. Thank you very much for liking my recent show's post. That's interesting. Cool, because yes, we are part of them with the Hockey Podcast Network. Thank you, Believe. Would like to, we'll talk about something later. Believe Network, yep, pretty cool. Apparently he used to be a goalie. Cool. So now we will continue. Hashtag BTWMN to have everything organized coming into these episodes. Makes a huge difference, honestly. Derek did post out a poll, and I did this week as well, which is the right thing to do. You know, we got to get polls out there. It does generate conversation. He was asking which Minnesota Wild players impressed you the most in 24-25 season so far. Please reply if you vote other. Yes. I did pick Marco Rossi, finished 2nd place. It was Kirill, Rossi, Philip Gustafson, and Brock Faber. They all did get votes, so it's not like anybody got shut out or anything. Kirill finished 1st, Marco 2nd, Philip 3rd, Brock 4th. So I did pick Rossi because of he's taken a serious step forward. Kaprizov has as well. It's just that Rossi at one point was looked on as maybe he's just kind of a mediocre guy. We might want to look to trade him. I don't think so. That's where I'm leaning now. Okay, and then I did post out the poll. I don't know where it went. I didn't hashtag it. What's wrong with me? How stupid. Anyhow, I didn't hashtag it. I didn't hashtag my own poll. That's pretty dumb. Sorry. Got a decent amount of votes. It's got a couple of days left, but pretty good idea who's going to win. Who do you see taking the biggest step forward in 2025? That'd be like of the prospects. Comment as to why, and or if you have another choice. Liam Ogren, Zeev Buyam, Jesper Wallstedt, and Riley Height was shut out. Riley Height finished fourth. Liam is in fourth right now. It's not over yet. So if you want to vote, go ahead. Liam Ogren number 1, Buyam number 2 with 41%. Liam with half of the votes. Wow. Jesper Wallstedt coming in third at 8.3. So me personally, I'm kind of biggest step forward. Yeah, I think I'm with Zeev Buyam too. I'm kind of debating between the two myself. Personally, it's between those two for sure. Wallstedt has taken huge steps back, but that doesn't mean he's done. So here we go. MN Johan says, going with Ogren here, since he is learning to be a true pro before getting elevated to the big wild, where he will make an impact, maybe already in the playoffs. Hopefully, that'd be cool. Tom Hayen, great to hear from you. It's great to hear from MN Johan, too, of course, very much so. Tom Hayen says, going with Zeev. He's going to be a top 4D for this organization in short order. Kid is legit, and teams are going to be kicking themselves for passing on him in the draft. Yeah, he was supposed to go, to Utah or something, earlier, way earlier, 6th or something. And, yeah, we got him, 12th. We're only, picking 13 and moved up, a spot with Philly, right? So, yep, kind of like the Vikings with J.J. McCarthy. Hopefully they'll be kicking themselves as well. The other teams, provided we keep McCarthy, and I hope the Vikings keep J.J. McCarthy, yes. If you want to hear Purple Mafia, Minnesota Vikings talk, check out that podcast, Purple Mafia. Please check it out. Yeah. Steve Snyder with Ogren says Ogren is already producing at the AHL level. Yep, I like that a lot. And should be able to contribute at the NHL level. I was not impressed with Wallstedt in his last few NHL games. Morty, N-Star fan, and there's a reply to Steve Snyder. I'll come back to that. Morty says, in order, Jesper Wallstedt. Okay. He will probably get a third of the games. Zeev Buyam will have growing pains, but if he pairs with Faber, it would serve him well. Yep. Liam Ogren coming in third. If the Wild can get rid of some dead weight, he will have an okay year. Riley Height, mostly down in Iowa in 2025. Yep, probably. Yep, Buyam and Zip, those are good thoughts for sure. Good thoughts, Morty. Really appreciate that a lot. Wallstedt, yep, interesting though. And Wallstedt, Steve Snyder responded to, Morty responded to Steve Snyder. Morty says, lots of people score at the AHL level, but can't at the NHL level. It's unfortunately true. With that said, he will be a good player at the NHL level. That him being Ogren, of course. Morty says Wallstedt was coming out of a slump when he played a good team with a depleted Wild club. He will be right up there competing with Gus soon. I hope so. I really hope so. Derek is kind of like, Derek says shrugs. I'm with Snyder on that one. And it's kind of a back and forth conversation. Yep, so they kind of go back and forth like Snyder. He thinks Wallstedt's maybe not as great, I guess. Only time will tell if Ogren can replicate AHL scoring at the NHL level. Yep, so there's a bit of that. It gets into an ongoing conversation, so let you guys have that one there. Continuing. Okay, now for what Derek said. Yes, let's get to Derek's reply about the whole poll. I'm going with Zeev Buyam. Well, yep, and he did mention this on the on his show as well when I posted a question, I believe. Yeah, in my mini lightning round. Well, Ogren is producing at the AHL level. I think he's going to stay there for the rest of the season unless they truly feel Iowa's no chance for the playoffs. Buyam will be with the Minnesota Wild as soon as this college season is over. Yep, I think so. Yep, I think so too. He's going to be another, obviously you can't say Faber in terms of we don't know if he's going to if he's going to be ready to go NHL level. But even Faber, he wasn't scoring points when he first got here, but clearly he was the kind of guy, you're not taking him out of the lineup. His defense was nuts. Absolutely nuts. It was awesome. He didn't, not one goal was scored when he was on the ice, if I remember correctly, in his first X amount of games in the NHL. Like, and I think it was like just a couple regular season and then into the postseason versus who was it? Dallas last time we played in the playoffs. Yeah, it was. And Studer basically hurt Kaprizov. Thank you very much, bastard. I was saying it's a miracle. Ryan Hartman scored a point. Get that extension talk started. A couple people like that. Yep, and then Russo was saying that I just kind of tweeted it out with the hashtag that the young guy with Nashville, the bully or whatever you want to call him, had also had 2 suspensions in his AHL career. Missed 10 games in the Quebec League. Wow. The Preds player who slew-footed and injured Jared Spurgeon was suspended 9 games in the Quebec League, including 10 games for jamming a stick between panes of glass and jabbing a 16-year-old kid. Sounds like a good guy. Good guy. Wow. People's response were saying he shouldn't be in the NHL at all. Saying, tag it and all that stuff. Hashtag BWMN. Jay Bushy opening things out, leading off at second base. Jay Bushy is getting that. He leads the team in all time with the leadoff home runs here. Great batting average. Jay Bushy ready to go. What do you think the Preds player is looking at for a league suspension? I'm guessing it's only going to be like 4 or 5 games. Yeah, I think it should be 10 personally, if it was up to me. But probably 4 or 5 is more than likely what it's going to be. It's because of how they said they can't judge his previous stops in his hockey career, if you know what I mean. So that's unfortunate. I get it, but it's like I get it on one side, like, hey, this is the NHL. It's not, you can't combine it all together. But sometimes reputations are what they are. So he's probably, hopefully he's going to figure it out one way or another here pretty soon. Derek opens up his lightning round. He's going to hit some homers here, getting that batting average up to the moon right here with the Derek Velska lightning round. Let's get started with this home run, right? Derek Velska, crease and assist podcast with Teresa and Kalisha. Again, amazing job, especially that, like all the episodes, but the recent one was a lot of fun. It's outside messing around, actually kind of boot hockeying it, if you know what I mean. Just not wearing skates, but wearing boots, shooting at the net. It was fun. While listening to the show out in a kind of fairly frigid, cold day at Hampshire Park here in Golden Valley. Anyhow, Derek says, I think we will learn a lot about the Minnesota Wild organizational depth or the lack of it in the next few weeks. Yeah, with, of course, the injuries and such that just continue to pop up. And then Johan was saying, we will know there is lack of depth, but this will also give opportunity for the young players, unproven at the NHL level, to step up. And I hope so, rather than just kind of calling up some of those quad A 30-year-olds. That seems to be the way the Wild have been in these situations more often than not. Derek was saying perhaps, or the win now, mentality of the organization will make another move it will later regret. Yeah, giving up picks. Johan was saying true, and if Spurge truly is out for the season, they could use his cap money for a replacement. Very interesting to see. Let's hope for good news about Spurge. Yep, and I'll continue scouring it quick too as well before I wrap up the episode. Here we go. Derek continuing again the lightning round. Team USA defeated Canada last night 4-1 at the World Junior Championships. I want to keep wanting to say classic. World Junior Championships in pool play. What odds would you give them for earning the gold this year? I think they absolutely can do it. Obviously, they have a nice, strong roster. Canada's just the favorite by default. Obviously, they have so many prospects and all that. Canada's the favorite, but I'm believing USA can get it done. I will say it is a 3-1 chance, I guess. You can kind of say that. Obviously, you never know what's going to happen up and coming, but I will say, 40%, like Morty says. Yeah, that's a good choice right there. 40%, Sweden looks good, and if we have to play Canada again, it might be difficult. So, yes, it's less than 50, just because. So, yep, I agree with that. Come on, why is this popping up? Next, please. In Duluth, a 23-year-old stole sticks and hockey equipment from Mankato West High School hockey team, forcing them to cancel a game during a holiday tournament. Most of the equipment has been recovered. What is a fitting punishment for the thief in your opinion? 23-year-old, huh? Fitting punishment. Well, probably, I hate to say it, but extensive community service at the very least. The question is, if he came back and returned it, but yeah, they're saying firing squad with pucks. Hey, Bianca's dad and Derek like that one, apparently. Firing squad with pucks. Community service at the very least, but yeah, like, could be jail time because that's what would you say it was like $15,000 of value. It's like, it's not a joke. Like, why would you do that kind of stuff? And what's the point? It's kind of silly and crazy. Community service and 90 days in jail, something like that. That'd be my guess. Like, I'm definitely not in the lawyer world, but that's what I'm thinking in my point of view. Next, why do you think the NHL is more apt to go with older retread coaches than hiring younger coaches like we have seen happen in the NFL? Yeah, yep, like Kevin O'Connell and, McVay and all them. My friend MN Frostyboy would like to know. MN Frostyboy, huh? Was that in the... It's kind of like how, yeah, like you were saying also, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know, that type of thing. Like John Tortorella, he's won a Stanley Cup, and he's been to the Cup final and stuff. He's had playoff success. Obviously, like Laviolette will probably get another job soon, regardless of what happens in New York. Yeah, he'll probably get another job. Like Berube already was like a veteran kind of guy, and he finally got the Blues job, and he won the Cup. And guys like Berube, like Boudreau has been all over the place. Mike Yeo has been an assistant pretty much most of the time now, after obviously a couple of head coach stints with the Wild and the Blues, and kind of filling in on the interim label with Philadelphia before John Tortorella took over that. It really does seem to be that like that, where they've seen success and they don't know what the young guy is going to do. It seems like players listen to older coaches more in the NHL. I don't know what it is, but it seems like they get more of a response. But the other side of it is, the other side of the coin is, the shelf life is just so damn short. When Mike Yeo, he was a young coach when he took over the Wild, and it was very promising, but it kind of was a sugar high that, it was a really nice sugar high. And then when the injuries started happening, it was like game over for that team. We went from like the best to the worst pretty quickly that year. It just kind of, I don't know if it's just, if players are more likely to respond to the veteran coach who's been there. It seems like that's what it is, but I don't know. That's what it seems like. Like, like Knobloch is even kind of he was new, but he was like, he'd been around for a while. He's a scout, like he's been an assistant for a long time. The guy that took Edmonton to the final last year. And of course, head coach of Florida started off with the Hartford Whalers as an extremely young guy. What was he, like 32 or something? And stayed with them with the Hurricanes, took them to, when they moved, of course, took them to the final, got beat by the, Detroit Red Wings in the final and all that. Had some pretty good success with the Carolina Hurricanes, and then went to Winnipeg, had some success there, and then later finally got the big one with Florida years later. It's amazing, though. It's like he's been coaching since like the mid-'90s when Hartford still existed, and he's not even 60 years old, so that's one of the weird ones. Where, he's a young coach. It can absolutely happen, and I'm not against hiring a younger coach. But it seems like even like the Wild are similar that way, obviously. But then, whereas John Hines, I'd say, is more kind of in the middle, right? Wasn't he like, he's like upper 40s, low 50s, kind of like middle. He's basically like Mike Yeo's age. So it's like after, many years later, of course. So, I don't know. It seems to be kind of like the retread thing, though, in a lot of ways. That's what I think. I think players are more likely to respond to the veteran, it seems like. That's what it seems to be. Like, the young ones seem to have an even shorter shelf life than the older ones. Derek was sharing something. I think that might have been the firing squad with pucks deal. Yep. That was funny. What was that person's name? I'll just say, oh, come on. Bianca's dad. Yep. That's what it says. And then the final thing, like how they were saying, We have recalled forward Brendan Gaunce and defenseman Carson Lambos from Iowa. That is Minnesota itself. Derek wraps things up here saying, I think his familiarity, that would be Lambos, because I was saying Lambos interesting. I think his familiarity with the Minnesota Wild systems, along with his better play, keeping him in the, keeping his, plus minus positive, which is impressive considering how lousy Iowa is. They're not like putrid bad, but they're not good either. But along with his better play, earned him the first call up, and will be interesting to see how he handles it. Gaunce went back to Iowa and notched a hat trick, so he's back. It's kind of funny how that went. Gaunce is like a minus 10 or something, and I know Spacek is a minus 9, which is kind of a bummer. But yes, Lambos is the guy, of course, up with the Minnesota Wild there. Carson Lambos will get his debut as soon as tonight. It will be tonight versus the Capitals. So with that should wrap things up here on Brave the Wild. I really appreciate, like I said, the Crease Assist podcast, of course. Minnesota Wild Global, Scott Cavendish, Chad Walski, Kathy Main, David Abraham, David and Chance Kostick, many others on there. Michael Fick, great page. Obviously, Pavel Bennett and Justin Bakke post in there as well. Pavel Bennett and Justin Bakke are a part of something, I'm proud to be with it as well, but more of kind of in the background. MNW Prospects, MNW Young Guns, awesome page, awesome Twitter account, Facebook page, and website, keeping up with all the prospects in the NHL that are already with Minnesota. You have to be a certain age or younger, and of course in the AHL, juniors, college, overseas, all of that. It's so much fun because you're always like, who's going to be that next guy that's going to help this franchise? Like Kaprizov ended up being the guy we kept up with for so long, and then when he finally suited up with the Wild and ended up succeeding, it's so much fun to keep up with that kind of stuff. So that's why we're so passionate about prospects with the Minnesota Wild. Like, I hate to see them get traded, but obviously not everybody's going to make the team. Not everybody's going to be a factor when they are on the team. So that's just an unfortunate reality of it all. Speaking of prospects, there's Byfield there in the background scoring against the New Jersey Devils, doing what the Kings did all those years ago in the final. Win. They beat the Devils. Yes, that's simple. Devil State of Mind podcast, big shout out. Great guys there. New Jersey Devils back to winning this year. Unfortunately, did not win against Darcy Kemper recently. Believe me, I was cheering for them. I'm not a Kings fan. I'd rather see the Devils win that. Where many years ago, I would have liked to see the Kings, but because the Devils were winning Stanley Cups and the Kings weren't, that kind of thing. But now it's like it became kind of semi the opposite over the years, even though Kings haven't won in forever now. Sorry for that babbling. Minnesota Wild Nation, Patrick Turner, great one there as well, coming down out of Florida, and congratulations once again to the Florida Panthers. I know that's his other team there because he's from Florida. So with that said, if you'd like to, you want to interact with the show, hashtag BTWMN. Please, if you want to help the show, share it, retweet it, but also, again, positive 5-star ratings on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any other app that may allow you to do so, and maybe put a nice positive review if you could. You don't have to write anything, but if you want to, that's wonderful. Positive reviews, clicking like on the YouTube videos, even though it's just it's the podcast in video form, basically, for now. Some days maybe I'll do some live stuff or just short video stuff, conversations about circumstances that take place, and paladinolive productions on YouTube. That's where basically everything's there. The TikTok also is everything in one place, paladino.live, and that's also in the show description. So any type of audio submission you want to give, paladinolive@yahoo.com. That's also in the show description. With that said, take care, and we shall see you in a week. Hopefully the Minnesota Wild can beat some pretty tough Eastern Conference teams.
When you share your food, you share your heart. So what's on your table this holiday season? Save on your festive feast at Kroger with delicious deals on all the holiday classics. Or wow the crowd with something new, like a quinoa stuffed butternut squash. It's sure to add a pop of color to your spread. How about a sweet potato casserole with a crunchy oat streusel topping, made with care for the sweet tooth and the savory tooth? With Kroger, fill your table with love and watch as your guests' hearts get as full as their bellies. Kroger, fresh for everyone.